track as if they needed any more worries or woes going into the first race of the day. But at least they had the warm-up session to get them to grips with the circuit. There you can see Yuri Schoen's on pole position, and alongside him is the 375 of Luke Nielsen. Number 340 is in third place. That's Benjamin Van Hees Benjamin. Alongside is the number 379, which is Gabriel Svitala. And Turlov also on the third row of the grid. Fourth row of the grid is Stevens and Fitters. Fifth row of the grid then is Volknars and Heinert. They make their way now around the final corners here. And onwards to start another lap here. Just to get those tyres up to temperature. Sixth row of the grid then is the number 322, which is Mick van der Hout. And again, drivers just making sure that they have as much knowledge of the circuit as possible, as if they needed any more reminding how much water there is on the circuit. There is standing water, which again, for a driver, it's not the worst thing in the world. At least they know the track is wet. At least they know the wet weather tyres are the ones to go for. So we'll keep an eye on those starts then, as they'll have to get into formation as they make their way towards the sweeping left-hander to take us on towards that snaking section down towards the final corner, and weaving left and right for our drivers to get as much heat into the tyres as they possibly can. They'll keep it rolling then through in towards the fast left-hander and the gravel trap that awaits them, that has caught out a couple of drivers in the warm-ups today. So our first pre-final of the day for the Max Seniors, Series B versus Series C. Series decided by their qualifying positions in yesterday's session. They make their way around the final corner then. They'll get into formation in the tram lines. Eyes on the lights then. They go out, we go racing, and it's a good start then from the 365. Yuri Schoens gets himself ahead, and as they make their way onwards then towards the hairpin then, oh, a slide, a big slide then for the number 363, and goes off the track. That's Cas Boshaus. A couple of drivers caught out for first time in racing conditions. Also there caught out was the 334. That's Scott Westhoven's, as drivers then make their way maybe even 2 wide, 3 wide in towards the back end of the circuit, sweeping their way through. It's the 375. That's Luke Nielsen who leads the way then as they make their way onwards towards this short stretch down towards the left-hander. And oh, a spin from third place then. Maybe caught out, getting onto the brakes, locking the rears. Either way, it's allowed our top two to give a little bit of breathing space into these stages. A lot more confidence, though, from Yuri Schoens in the number 365 as they head their way down towards the hairpin then. A huge battle for third place, very much developing. A good one for first place as well, as the 375 of Luke Nielsen looks over his shoulder just to check where the field are, where the rest of the field are. It's Nielsen who leads them from Schoens, and then it's the 368 of Ralph van der Pavert, who finds himself in third place after that bit of a melee down towards the first hairpin. Always to be expected, drivers hurtling in there at the first time of asking, just making sure that everything goes right, but it's so easy to lock the rears if someone runs a little bit too deep there. They might get away with that one. There's the 340, that's Benjamin, who's in fourth place at the moment, gets the foot down and being chased down by Boshaus in the number 363 as they make their way towards the short stretch down towards this flying left-hander, towards one of the penultimate slowing down places on the circuit. Battle for third place really developing now, as it's the 368 of Ralph van der Pavert, and down the inside looking for a move there, eyeing for a move. I think that's Volknars in the number 363. Is that no, it's Cas Boshaus who's looking for moves then, as you see that battle for third place very much well and truly on, as that's the 340 Van Hees Benjamin looking for moves here. There goes the 363 down the inside. Cas Boshaus trying to get some positions here. This is a great scrap for third place, as Boshaus, I think, again down the inside, does get the move stuck then as he'll make his way through. And then onwards for the rest of the lap then, still battling away for third place. They've got to be careful though, this battle for third, that they don't lose touch too much to the leaders. Leader is starting to break away from the pack then, as that's Yuri Schoens, who's making good from his grid position there. But that is the 363 who's very much on the spot. Cas Boshouse trying to see if he can find a move again down the inside in towards the final corner. So much confidence on the brakes has Cas Boshouse, and now he's up into second place. Lovely stuff from Boshouse as he makes his way through. One driver off into the gravel just in the background there. That's the number 325. That's Jur Valkenars, who's off into the gravel, but does recover and get going again. Someone runs a very deep into one of the hairpins there, getting two wheels onto the grass then. Battle, I think, for fourth place here. Developing very nicely indeed. But Yuri Schoens is just trying to keep his head down and get away from the rest of the pack. It's the 375, it's Neeson in this battle for third place then, as that's Turlov, who's got the fastest lap of this race so far. But I wonder if Boshouse will take that off, because now Boshouse has a good bit of clean air, no battling on this lap. He's managed to close in here on Yuri Schoens. You can see visually the gap has come down. What will the lap be from Boshouse then? It's a new fast lap of 58.8, one of the first drivers to head under 1 minute. There's a handful of drivers that are finding the confidence, finding the grip out there. And with a 58.8, that's a great lap there in these early stages from Cas Boshouse. And very much looking to put the challenge on our leader here in Yuri Schoens in the number 365. There is the battle for the lead. If you're watching the stream, getting back onto the power goes Cas Boshouse. Yuri Schoens under a bit of pressure here. Coming in towards now the sweeping left-hander. Boshouse with that last lap of a 58.8. Compare that to Yuri Schoens of a 60.0. As Boshouse looking, sizing up a move. Will he try and move into towards the hairpin? No, he's not close enough this time around. And he'll make his way back on the power. He will go. But the lap times, do they still show? Yes, a 59.5 from Boshouse. So even though he's been catching, he's been caught a little bit. He's caught up to the back of the leader, I should say. He is still lapping quicker. And right on the rear bumper, third place is the 340. That's Benjamin. Van Hees Benjamin trying to make some move and make some headway in towards the battle for the lead. 4.5 minutes left to run in our first pre-final for our senior maxes. And there is your battle for the lead. 365 of Yuri Schoens against the 363 of Cas Boshouse. As the duo then make their way towards the left-hander. Boshouse looks for a move down the inside. Can he keep it all under control? Yes, he can, and takes over the lead then through that left-hander and up towards the final hairpin. Boshouse runs a little bit deep, but he should be able to get the power down. Boshouse then leads the way then. A lead change at the top then, as Cas Boshouse goes into the lead of this race. Which then puts Yuri Schoens down to second place. And Benjamin Van Hees is now in third place and might have a chance and a sniff of an opportunity at second place. Benjamin also lapping quicker than Yuri Schoens at this stage. So Benjamin Van Hees is looking very much so, very confident to try and see if he can grab that position for second place. As there's a battle on our hands here. That's the 375, Luke Neeson, against the 373 of Julian Klossman, and that's a battle for sixth place. And they're going side by side then as they make their way towards the left-hander. One has to yield, and the one that yields is the 375. So Luke Neeson yields that position. Klossman goes up to sixth place then, as our leaders make their way across the line with 2 minutes 55 on the clock left of this race to run. And at the moment then, it's Cas Boshouse who leads from Yuri Schoens in second place. Third place is Benjamin Van Hees. Fourth place is number 310, and that's Mitch Hainert. In fifth place in the order at the moment is the 3-4-2, and that's Matthijs Terlouw. As we have one off at the final hairpin. And, well, I'm trying to see if that might be the 393 of Van Beek down at the final hairpin, because Van Beek has not come through to clock up just yet. One driver who is coming through to clock up another lap time is Cas Boshuis, who's got a commanding lead now. And that's Benjamin Van Hees up into second place now, and Yuri Schoens is down to fourth in that lap. So Schoens is under a bit of pressure now from Matthijs Terlouw for what is fourth place. I think that might have just been a switch of position there. Going through, but they're still scrapping for that position then. And there's the 3-4-0. That's Benjamin Van Hees, who's in second place right now, chased down by the number 3-1-0 of Mitch Heynert. And here you can see Cas Boshuis, our leader of this race, the leader of the first pre-final of the day. And then they're covered by yellow flags at the hairpin, so there'll be no move there. You see the hand raised then from Heynert. He knows he can't go for the move in towards the hairpin, and there is the kart that is being recovered. And as we make our way past the green flag, and that means that Heynert can now launch the attack once again to see what he can do. Down towards that first hairpin. Can he get the power down? He can try and draw himself alongside. Can Heynert goes for the old up and under down the inside of the next corner. Did he get that move stuck? I think he did. And that will be Mitch Heynert up a position then. Very nicely done indeed. Very well worked from Heynert to get past Van Hees. And Van Hees is trying to see if he can find a way back through, trying to do an old up and under, taking a different line, see if he can get the power down earlier for Van Hees. As they get the power down now, still the advantage remains to Mitch Heynert in second place as they make their way through the left-hander, the sweeping left-hander towards the end of the circuit. Now they'll make their way towards the final hairpin. As time elapses, and so Cas Boshuis has this lap and two more to keep pressing on. He's just set the fastest lap of the race, a 58.4. Track seems to be drying, or at least water's being dispersed off the racing line to allow drivers to be a lot more confident. A lot more drivers are now dipping into the 59, some of them just on the brink in 60 seconds. They were lapping in the 102s and the 103s at the start of this race, so not only is the track might be improving, but driver confidence will also rise up as well, as they feel they can take more speed into corners and feel like there's more, with more confidence, be able to carry more speed into the corners and know that the tyres and the cars underneath them will be fine. Might be a late charge here for a battle for third place. And Matthijs Terlouw can he close in. We have now two more laps to go. Time has elapsed. We're now on to two more laps to go. There's your race leader if you're watching along on the stream in Cas Boshuis. You see them just popping a rear left tyre. Oh, and that was someone off onto the gravel there towards the left-hander, one of the final left-handers, with the 379 of Gabriel Svitala, who does rejoin. Cost a couple of seconds, but leaves the kart still on the circuit then. Cas Boshuis has been fantastic going into this race. Started on the second row of the grid, but has made this look very, very good indeed. Has had much more confidence than those behind him. As he makes his way through the final corner, he'll get the power down and start the final lap of this race. And look over his right-hand side shoulder just to see what's happening behind. Well, behind is a 3-second gap. Although it's interesting to see at this late stage that it is Mitch Heynert who has the fastest lap of the race and has closed in 0.3 of a second last time around. But encouraging pace though from Mitch Heynert. But our leader then making the way through in towards the final couple of corners, down towards the left-hander after the chicanes, through now in towards the flying left-hander to size up on this final lap, and Cas Boshouse then through in towards the quick chicane, down towards in towards the final corner, the final hairpin. He'll get the power down, and our winner of the first pre-final of Series B versus Series C goes to Cas Boshouse. Mitch Haynert in second place, and third place goes the way of Benjamin Van Hees. Fourth place goes to Matthias Turlov, as Yuri Schoens drops to fifth place, having started on the front row with the 3.73 of Julian Klossman. In sixth place, 3.82 of Ty Stevens. In seventh place, eighth place went the way of the 3.31 of Jake Menton. Ninth place across the line was the 3.75 of Luke Neeson. And to round off our top 10, it's the number 3.68 in Ralph van der Pavert. The top 10 from that. So heat points already being totaled up at this early stage for our Max Seniors. That was Series B versus Series C. We'll see the Series A drivers later on today. They will be a part of our second pre-final, but there you can see the results there. These are the provisional results. Cas Boshouse taking the victory. Mitch Haynert turning up the wick towards the end, but he just needed maybe a couple more laps to try and catch the leaders. Benjamin Van Hees in third place with Matthias Turlov in fourth place. Yuri Schoens in fifth place. Julian Klossman in sixth. Ty Stevens in seventh. Jake Minton in eighth with Luke Neeson in ninth. And then rounding off the top 10 there was the number 3.68 of Ralph van der Pavert. You can see a handful of DNFs there. Bram Plomp didn't take the start, was here yesterday, but has withdrawn from running. Martin Herrera, Kirill Genser and Rima van Beek all not finishing. And we saw Rima van Beek, the kart being recovered at the hairpin, not too far from the end of the race. Next up then,